I don't know if you guys saw a video that went viral this week of a woman cussing out her mother-in-law, like literally. So let me paint the scenario for you if you haven't seen it. This this man comes driving up to pick up his wife, and sitting in the passenger seat is his mother. His wife is then like, is she going to move to the back? I'm your wife. I should sit up front. His mother-in-law gives a strict, I'm not moving. The guy jumps out the car and is trying to convince his wife to sit in the back because he doesn't want his mum to move. The wife is cussing, swearing. Guys, it was a madness. And it just makes me think, like, who do you think should be the most important woman in a man's life? Should it be his wife, or should it be his mother? Or does it actually make a difference if they're not married or not, or if they come from like a different cultural heritage or background? Like, who is the most important?
Sophie, Sophie, Sophie. Now, this question here is a tough one to answer, yeah? Because I saw that video and I said, Kai, never will I be the woman that speaks to my in-law that way.
Ever.
And I do know that some mother-in-laws are wicked witches, some are Cruella de Vils, and I'm not going to say that they're not, right? But for me, there just has to be a level. But it's true, some are real wicked demons. But I feel there has to be a level of respect that you give the woman who gave birth or the mother of the person you love. And when it comes to who's more important, I feel as though when, it's just a relationship, so when it's not a marriage, it's easy to say that the mum should still be the most important person in that man's family because that is still the man's family. But once you get married, the family then becomes the unit that you've built with your wife. But I still don't feel this should really have to even be that question. It's just, it's a whole mess. And all I know, that video was too much, boy.
That video was a whole bunch.
It was messy, but there shouldn't be a problem between your wife and your mother unless you are trying to create a mother in your wife. And I think if those women, because I saw more than one video, like one was a boyfriend, one was a wife, but they were both mad that their partner's mother was sitting in the front seat. But if your partner had pulled up that day and his dad was riding shotgun, I don't think you would have had as much of an issue. Or if you would have had one at all. So what is it?
Good point.
Yeah. So what is it about a mother-son relationship that makes you feel like your position in his life is so threatened? Why do you feel that way? And I don't think there should be a competition at all because like, you were just saying, Linda, you have become extended family now. Like when my siblings get their partners, I'm just going to have bonus siblings. When my future children, marry, if they want to, then like those people will receive an extension of the love that I have for my children. So I don't think people should be, if everyone's healthy, if everyone feels like they have an important place in your life, they're not really going to be worrying about the place that they sit in your car.
Do you know what?
I 100% agree, Luanda. Because I mean, I'm not a driver and I don't feel like I'm in the car like that. So I don't ever really understand the importance of the front seat.
I'm not in the car
I really don't get it. I'm like what I like to call myself a professional passenger. I don't care where I sit in the car. As long as I get a seat and I can close my eyes as you drive, then I don't care. Like, I'm absolutely not fussed. But when it comes to relationships, I, of course, think your partner, your wife, your woman, your spouse should be first. And not to say as if, like, your mother or your parents should be discounted. But I think, you have to put your household first, your direct household. And then you just have to put everybody else, following out. And I mean, I know we're saying, I don't know why you'd get into it with your mother-in-laws. I've never got into it with my mother-in-laws, but not that I've had one. But I have seen people get rowdy with my own mother and my whole family wanting to go and beat her ass. Like that's what I'm saying. Because people are like, do you know when you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, I don't know where this is coming from. And so issues happen all the time, but I've also seen on the flip side from friends where their mother-in-law has overstepped, especially sometimes like when there's a baby involved, you'll find that there's an overstepping. And so sometimes you naturally have conflict, especially if you don't know the person. And also if you have cultural differences, then you're going to have, especially when kids are involved, you're going to have conflict. It's just what it is, but it's the way in which you handle it, because you can have conflict, but as long as you have healthy resolution. And I would expect, if I was having conflict with my mother-in-law, that my husband would step in, not to be like take anyone's side, but to diffuse the situation. Or like even, I don't know, like, for me, for someone to talk to my mother like that, it's because I've allowed them to speak to my mother like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. Like, I must have been talking the wickedest about my mother. That you could go and speak to her any kind of way. Like, I don't get it.
But the thing is, for me, I think for me, like, I think I agree that there should have been a basic level of respect that there wasn't. Let's not, from the video, which I think we've all seen, like, there wasn't any respect that the mother-in-law was given either. Like, she was stagnant in this, I'm not going nowhere, I'm his mother, like, all this stuff. And for me, there's obviously an unhealthy relationship going on there. And I'm with you, Anissa, that the guy has a responsibility to now wade into this to sort it out. And I think, I'm going to tell you a personal experience from a cultural perspective. So I dated a guy, I don't think he's going to watch this, so I'm going to say what country he's
You say this every week, Sophie, I love it.
I know, right?
Eventually.
He was Nigerian, and he was built like Apollo. He was a beautiful man, honestly. And but he had this dynamic that he and his mum had was just I have to say that he was good looking, because I think if he wasn't, I couldn't have put up with it. Like, honestly. So we would be going out. I invited him around to my family barbecue. No, in fact, it's like a friend's barbecue to come around. He was like, my mum doesn't like me to go out the night before. I'm working. I can't really tell her that I'm coming out. When we'd be out, it'd be like 10 o'clock. He was just like, my mum's calling me. I got to go.
Wait, how old were you guys?
We were 27.
No, shut up.
I'm not joking. And he was kind of like, his dad had passed away when he was younger. So his mum now looked at him as the man of the household. And that's something that I would definitely ask in this scenario. I would be like, is there a father around? Is his mother dating someone? Is she getting the attention that she feels she should get from a man? Because sometimes mothers act in a way because they've made their sons into mini husbands. They're like son husbands.
Yes, Sophie.
So you're filling a gap. You're filling a gap that a man should be doing, making me the most important person in your life. Like, my mum is important to me. I don't know if I would ever say, past your childhood, like, my mum is the most important. Like, I'm holding on to it. I'm like, my mum has her place. My dad has his place. My sister has his place. We all have a place. And when it now comes to bringing someone in my life and there's a bit of jealousy on the mother's side, I'm just like, that relationship needs to be looked at, because you should be getting to the point where you want to release your children into the world. You want them to bring someone in. So I think this guy is just as much at fault, because when you're married, 100%. I don't think it's possible to say to your husband, as you're saying, Anissa, you can't take sides. No, you're like, babe, we're married. That's what it means. You're on my side. You can correct me.
Ultimate teammate.
You can correct me. You can tell me I've done wrong, like I'm never going to step out on your mum or whatever. But if your mum disrespects you, can't be like, babe, I'm not trying to take sides. You need to quietly go and have a word with your mother and say, mum, you overstepped the boundary. You don't get to speak to her like that. These are our children. We get to decide how we raise them. Okay. So I think sometimes there's real unhealthy dynamics going on.
Yeah, I think
Sophie, you've actually, you know what? I think you've made me not change my mind, because I completely agree with you. And I think I agreed with you from when you started speaking. But there is something to do with the relationship that men have with their mothers. Because if you clock, there's not an issue with women and their fathers. It's men and their mothers. And I think sometimes it's so sad to say, but it's not only that the mum has made this son a mini husband. There's just something just wrong with the whole thing. Because you can have situations where the woman is married, the mum is fully married, but still she has that kind of, I don't know, power, this just weird onus over the son. I don't know if it's because, you know, they're more, you know, in a lot of cultures, if you have a male child, you're seen as boom, like you gave birth to a guy, to a son, whatever. I don't know if it's because there's more, you know, women in the world than men, and you know the male gene is not as common as the female. But there were some really weird relationships between mothers and their sons.
Linda, I'm convinced for some men, if they had the option, they'd crawl back into their mother's womb. I promise you.
Say it again.
I'm convinced. I actually think grown-ass men, if you gave them the option, they would physically crawl back into their mother's womb.
I think there's a big responsibility on men, because for me as well, like my husband, he's very close to his family. They're really tight. And things had to shift when we got married, because now like there's a shift there. But he never made me feel like I wasn't a priority. And I think that's what I saw in this video. This is a woman who's like, you don't make me a priority. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't need to overstep your mother, but we should both feel like we're priorities in your life. I should feel like I'm important. And I think a big ownership is on men to really make their woman feel valued and appreciated. So when your mum calls and there's a sudden emergency, you're like, babe, go. Should I come with you? Do we need to do it together? Like, does she need their help?
Yeah.
But I feel like some men, like you said, some men don't want to cut the ties. They like being mothered by their mother, and then they like what this woman's bringing to them, and it's just like the best of both worlds. No, you got
The
to grow
best
up.
of both.
I'm a Christian, and they talk about, there's this verse in Genesis that everyone talks about, leave and cleave. When you marry someone, you leave and you cleave to your wife. There has to be, the point is there's a break-in. When you get married, you leave for a certain degree that household,
But
and you cleave to your
Sophie,
wife and start another. Yeah.
but the problem is, ladies, right? Not everyone is emotionally ready to be in relationships, let alone marriages. And
Yeah.
we're having people that are broken and there's nothing wrong with being broken, because boy, we've all been broken in some capacity. But we're having people who are not emotionally ready to be in relationships and marriages, getting into these relationships and marriages, and then all hell breaks loose, you know? And to be honest, guys, I don't know if you clocked, yeah? He was driving her car. So for me, if anyone should have been moving seats, it should have been him. Come out, let me drive my car. I'm like, yeah, pulling up in my whip. But that's the thing, too many people get in relationships, but it's true. How do you get in relationships when they're not ready to? Yes, it was her car.
That's
rude.
Right. Even more.
Rude.
I don't know.
Your mama's driver's seat, bruh.
But there's value to there's space to value more than one person in your life. You don't have to choose, oh, am I going to pick you today and disrespect you because I'm on your side and there. Like, you can value more than one person in your life, and I don't want you to only love me at the downfall of your mom. Like, do you know what I mean?
Agreed.
Like,
yeah.
I want us all to share a healthy relationship. It shouldn't be me or her. I never want, like, I'm going to lose respect for you if you think that you can, like, only value me if your mother is devalued.
Yeah. And
what
I
does
think
that have anything to do with me?
I would say to women as well, like, don't get it twisted. We as women, and I've done it in the past, my friend reminded me of it yesterday, we like to look past certain red signals. We date someone.
Yes, red flags.
He has never made you a priority in his life, and then you feel like when we get married, suddenly things are going to change. Nah, a man is going to treat you pretty much how he treated you when you were dating. And if you weren't feeling that sense,
Sophie,
if you weren't feeling that sense of secureness and whatever before, it's not going to boom, land in your lap when he now gets married. Like, if you see that every time he's with his mother and he's just like, oh, mum's is right, you know, we should really do it because my mum wants that. Just think, do I want to be married to that? My opinion.
And you know, me personally, I could, expanded on that. I couldn't even be with someone where I didn't feel like I was a priority from the get go, and I mean from dating. And also, I don't
yes, agreed.
I'm straight, because things will not get better. They'll only get worse. Basically, what happens is what you allow. You know, people treat you the way that you tell them that they can, basically. And also, I don't really think I could be with someone if there was like kind of animosity between myself and their mother. You know, I don't think I could do that either.
Yeah.
Really?
No, that's hurt. That's painful.
No,
and you want to, like, start a family with them and have a unionship with this person, and you don't have any love or respect for the one who, like, brought them into the world. I couldn't do it.
And they don't like me for some reason?
Yeah.
Right.
I've ended relationships because of the way that their, like men's mothers have treated me. I don't need it. Yeah, because no, I don't need it. I could get into some stories, guys, but we don't have enough time.
but do you feel that those guys are like defending you, or do you feel like they just kind of left you to the walls of their mother?
Left me. I think if you had defended me, it would have been a different story. But like, that's what I mean, and that's why when I see these red flags, I will just cut you off, because like, how am I going to be here receiving disrespect from this woman, and you're just like letting it happen, and then we're talking about it later? Why are we not talking about it in the moment? And the only reason why I wouldn't be as as outspoken as I would be, like, say, on the show, is because I have respect for her, even if she's going to disrespect me. But you, as the son, you have a relationship with her. You have a place where you can be like, actually, that's not an okay thing to say. Like, you don't treat someone like that. I mean, there was someone that I was dating that his mom would, like, ignore me ignore me until he would be like, hey, mom, hey, Luanda. And I was just like, I am never seeing you again. I'm never seeing you again.
Shy people, some mums are shy.
It wasn't shyness. It wasn't shyness. It was disrespect.
I dated a guy like that, and his mum was just like, he said to me, "Oh, my mum's going to ignore you for a bit because she doesn't really talk to my girlfriends at first. She needs to see if you're going to like stick around, so she's just going to pretend like you don't exist. So don't be offended by it. Like, but you still need to say hello to her because if you don't say hello, then she's going to say you're rude. So I was just kind of like,
excuse me.
I am telling you, a bunch of drama. So I'm telling
That's
you,
so
I've learned
mad.
from the red flags. Move on from them.
Yeah, leave him. Don't try and fix him. Dead him off.
No, definitely not.